and welcome back. All right, so I have the coolest guy with me today. His name is Michael Fritz, and let me tell you something. I call him Fritz. Everybody calls him Fritz. He is known as the Fritz, right? He is the guy. We love him. We love his energy. So thank you, Mike, so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. The Fritz. I'm gonna have
The
to
Fritz.
grow into that. Oh
I'm
man, it's the
telling you,
Fritz.
it's the Fritz,
That's good. I
right?
like
It's
that.
good,
Yes,
right? It's like there's so much power that comes behind the, right? Love
there is.
it. So just remember, everybody, I always make sure that every single person that I interview with, every one of my referral partners has a free gift for you. So stay to the end because I'm telling you right now, the one that Fritz has for you is phenomenal. You are not going to want to miss out on it. So stick around into the end. But Fritz, tell us more about what you do, because like I love the fact that you are this like eclectic mix of connection and conversation and podcasting, and you just take that and you just like mash that into this awesome freaking package. So tell everybody more about what it is that you do.
Yeah, what I do is I get people booked on podcasts and then I turn each of those bookings into business. So the way it works is we do a high touch offering where we interview people and say, okay, what are the best kinds of shows for you to be on? We've got a growing list of podcast hosts that we've done an equal interview with. And then we use a lot of technology, a little bit of AI to match people and say, hey, this person would be a great fit for your show. And here's why. So it's more than just trying to shove people into pipelines and be like, just come on, get in there. I got to hit a quota. So it's a lot of fun though. But you talked about connection and networking. Like it's really just an extension of me being an encourager, a networker, a connector, a facilitator. This is just the natural outflowing of that. So I'm exercising my spiritual gifts all day, every day.
I love that. I love that. And honestly, like, so many people think like, oh, I just need to be on podcasts. Like I just need to, be in certain places and I just need to be out there. And they don't understand that like there's a purpose behind all the work that you do. There's a purpose behind all of your content, including podcasts.
Mhm.
So it's really important for even the podcast, especially for the podcast host, to have the right people coming into their pipeline. Because
Right.
not having the right people in their pipeline, unfortunately, they're going to end up with people that aren't going to really help them get the views, get the contacts, get the connections that they're really looking for. And it's more it's like obviously like you're gonna have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but podcast is more about more than just about like the views and the listeners. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. It's
Yeah.
almost like you're reading a page out of my playbook, and I talk with so many people and I ask the question when I say, hey, how many of you have ever been on a podcast doing in-person calls, talks, and stuff like that? Everybody raises their hand. And I'm like, great. How many of you have actually won business from that? And like almost all the hands go down. The couple times that people have left their hands raised, it's been like, I mean, I think I got a client from it. It was like accidental. So it's like one of these, I think, yes, technically correct is the best kind of correct, right? Um, but still, it's like people get out there and they realize that's more than being visible. It's more than just being on the top 1% podcast. There's something missing. Well, the missing piece is that clear next step. Draw people in and get them to take an action that indicates interest so that you can follow up with them and turn them into a client later on. That's the secret, folks.
Exactly, exactly. Like there's got to be so much more to the podcast than just like showing up, being interviewed, and then going off into Narnia someplace. And for sometimes, I mean, I've even done podcast interviews where I've had to follow up with hosts repeatedly and be like, "Hey, so like, do you have the footage?" Granted, at that point in time, I was just like, I just need content because, like, I hate creating generic content. Obviously, this is the reason why I create content this way, right? Like, I hate generic content. I love conversation-based content because it's a real. It's not. I'm not being a fake person. Like I am not wearing a mask here. Like we're totally just jabbering here, which I love. So when you're in a podcast, if you have that ability to get good content out of it that you should be able to use, but there's a lot of podcast hosts that don't even know how to utilize their guests properly. So they're just like they're using it as just a way to just push out content. They're just in that focus of push out content, push out content, push out content. So
Mhm.
when somebody's in that type of a mindset of like we just need to get the content out, how much damage could they be doing? Like how much could they be missing from that?
I mean, the damage is really quantified by it's a mental thing, right? So when you're constantly pushing, when you're constantly creating content, like there's going to be a growing part of you that feels that and says, bro, this is not working. We're doing all this effort. It's not working. It's like the movies, the TV shows where the person's like doing CPR and they're like basically on top of the person. Come on, wake up, and stuff like that. And it's like, just let them go. Just stop. Like, you're exerting all this effort. They're gone. It's like, let's move on and do something else. Okay. The strategy is dead. But we have to understand that it's dead before we can say, okay, I'm not doing that. Now what can I do differently? But it can do a lot of damage, because if you're not really clear on your outcome, you're not really clear on your desired outcome, and you just push, 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 well, you're going to attract a lot of noise, and that's going to be difficult, right? If you're clear and you know what your intended result is supposed to be, you can refine the inputs, the kind of people that are coming closer to you. They're not just a bunch of random yahoos. They're buyers. They're looking at, hey, I love what you said. I consumed the content. I took the next step. What's next? Like, let's shut up and take my money. And that happens a
Yeah.
lot more often with clarity.
Without question, without question. Clarity seems to be like the ultimate decision maker for people. A
Mhm.
confused buyer doesn't buy, right? So if
That's right.
they don't know what it is that you do and they don't know how you can support them, they can't buy anything from you. This is how
That's
it
right.
works.
That's right.
I love that. So let me ask you this: like, what is like the number one like rule of thumb for you when you're just like when somebody's coming to you and they're just like, so I have a podcast. I am having a hard time getting guests. So what is like the number one thing that you tell them right off of the jump? Like, we have to look at this first. What is like the first thing that they have to assess before they're going to come in and start like working with you, for example, just to like get a point of clarity of like, what is it that they could potentially be suffering in that they're not realizing that they could be suffering in?
Yeah, well, this will be a little bit out of the box, and I'll preface it by saying that when people come to me and they want me to help with their podcasting strategy as a host, I'll always ask them, well, first they're going to be business owners, and I'll always ask them, okay, that's great. Tell me about your offer. And if they kind of hem and haw about it, or if they've got like a 5-page menu, like a la carte, like you can pick, and I'm like, okay, good effort, good hustle. I like that.
Yeah.
But what I want to guide people toward is having one offer, one singular thing. And mentally, and I've overcome this myself. You probably have too. I think this is what you help
Yeah.
people with. So it's your fault. I'm like this, Suzanne. Um,
You're
the
welcome.
I know, you're welcome. Thank you. Gosh, right. But what I had to overcome, and what I coach people on overcoming, is the idea of you can have a singular offer that you can put your time and attention and love and energy into and feel great about it. Because when you know that you've got that offer, you you know what it does, that automatically goes to, okay, who do I do this for? And how do I get those people to come to me? And what kinds of people do I need to have in my network? That clarity just ripples outwards. So when people ask, hey, I'm trying to get guests for my show, it's like, great, what do you want to sell them? If they don't have a clear answer for that, I can't give you a clear answer of what people to send to your show. Any rando could be a good fit, but you want to have the right people coming to you. Get super clear on that offer first, and then, then we can have some fun. Then we can figure out who to bring your way.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And honestly, it's like literally one of the first things I dive into with people is what's your offer? And there's so many times which like I can't even imagine. Like people will come to me be like, oh, I worked with a coach for 5 months, 8 months, whatever, and I still don't have an offer. I'm like, or exactly like you said, or they have too many offers. And I'm just like, you're confusing people. Like I always say, like, you got to keep it really simple. Start with one offer. If you want to create like more offers later, you always can. You can always branch off and create more, but always start with one offer and an intro to that offer and an outro to that offer.
Hmm.
That's what you need. That's all you need, right? An intro to the offer. So basically, here's the offer. Here's the thing that we're going to talk about. If you're not ready for this, then go here, right?
Yep.
And there's got to be a place for them to go where they're going to spend a little bit of money with you so they can be invested in working with you and then upgrade to that. And then the outro of now what happens after the fact, because residuals, like, listen, especially like in the coaching space, there's a lot of business owners that don't understand about residuals and like residual incomes and like how that needs to work. And I'm a big advocate for like, we have to have the residual income. So there's got to be ways to bring in money that's coming in on a regular basis at all times, because if not, like you're constantly in that like, ebb and flow, if you will, the hills and valleys, like I call it. And that doesn't suit at all. So the thing that I like about what it is that you're talking about is people always want to be interviewed, right? Like
Yeah.
People always want to be interviewed.
Right.
So
We're
like
here because we both want to be interviewed. Yes.
exactly, because like it's like it's a great thing. It's like a great opportunity to get out there and get more exposure and have good conversation and
Mhm.
do the engagement piece. So my question on that is how do people navigate around the aspects of like for people that are like, okay, yeah, I want all these people, I want all these guests to come in. How do they like kind of rummage through the issues of getting everyone compared to their people? Like, how does that become problematic for them at some point for podcast guests?
It's a good question. I will say it's a little bit spotty just at the end there. So I don't know if you had your finger on your
Oh,
AirPod.
yep. Sorry about
Okay. Get
that.
your hair out of your ears, Suzanne.
I
So
know.
so you add, let me see if I get the question right. So how do they, like, if they've got a ton of people to weed through, like how do they
Yeah.
qualify and figure out? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a host, what I always recommend is having some kind of an intake form where people have to answer at least a few questions. Okay. And
Mm,
if you're using Google Forms at a really low level, if you're using high level at a really high level, right? Or anything in between, HubSpot, whatever it is, make sure to have at least a few questions that will screen out some people that are like, man, I don't want to answer any questions. I just want to get on a show. It's like, well, if you're not even willing to like self select, you're probably not a good fit. Don't ask too many questions that it feels like they're taking like a GED exam or something. Like you just want to have a few questions, have a mix of questions that can be clicked with a checkbox or a radio button or a few short answer things just to kind of further weed out the riffraff. But the more information you have about a person beforehand, the better. But make sure that they are able to classify themselves. Like for me, for example, if like a while back I had a show where I would only interview business owners. So it could be a quite rash assumption if I put my intake form out there and I don't ask the question, hey, are you a business owner? And if they
right.
answer no, well, then I can screen them out and just have the response say, hey, sorry, it looks like you're not a good fit. It's not personal. It's not you. It's me. But we're not a good fit for this show. But hang around me because I know some other shows you could probably be on. Okay.
Right.
It's not a burnt bridge. It's just a not right now, not this time. You're not the right fit. We're good. But
Right.
yeah, just if you can set up rules and logic to screen out the people so you don't get a notification that says, oh, this person's not a business owner. What the heck? How do they get through? Well, don't let
Right.
them squeak through the fences. That'll go a long way toward it. And then as you interview people, just do a self-assessment and say, did I enjoy talking with that person? If
Mm,
so, why? Like, what was it that
right.
made that work? What was it that made them amazeballs to talk with? And then ask them, hey, do you know of some other guests that would be a great fit for this show? Because they were just on it. They experienced you firsthand. And assuming they like talking with you as well, they probably know scads of people. Birds of a feather tend to flock together, right? So if you ask them,
Mm,
then it solves the problem. You solve your, well, how do I go find guests? Because the guests are bringing you more guests and they're bringing you guests that are like them because you said you like talking with them, right?
mhm.
So that's my solution. It's all organic. It's inorganic at first. I'll get it out there just to kind of seed a podcast, but after that, it's people bringing people. It's amazing.
I love that. I love that. So let me ask you this. So if you've got someone that's coming to you and they're not they just starting their podcast or they've been in their podcast for a number of years and now they want to actually like get something out of it. Like who is your like ideal person? Like what stage of their podcasting journey should they be on to say like start that conversation with you? Should they be in it for a little while? Should they have their stuff figured out or should they be right at the beginning? Like what's that like special area that you're just like, this is the place where you need to come talk to me?
Yeah, the sweet spot is really when they've been doing it for a while and
Mhm.
they enjoy the results. So they're getting results, but they realize they don't want to be the guy or gal that's doing all of the lifting. Like, I love podcasting, but it's not a revenue generating source for me. It is, and it
Mhm.
sounds kind of weird, I'll explain, but like when I'm editing an episode, that doesn't generate revenue. If I'm publishing an
Mhm.
episode, that doesn't generate revenue. There are other things that I do as an offshoot of that, like for my own shows, for example, where that does generate revenue, but anything
Mhm.
else that is preventing me from having as many sales conversations as possible, that stuff can be delegated. So when they're at that point of, okay, I want to keep this going. I don't want to just drop it on the floor because it's fun talking to people. I love networking, but I just don't love the editing, publishing, promotion piece. Hand it off to us. We'll take care of it for you. Because if you're getting those results, better for you to hand it off and free up the time, which is the one resource is non-renewable. I'm not trying to be
Mhm.
morbid, but you don't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So
Agreed.
right. So it's like every hour that you spend on that is an hour taken away from doing something that will actually benefit your business, that'll leave a lasting legacy, that'll bring money in through the doors, and it ends up working out very well. So yeah, but they got to be good with delegation too, because I've had a few people that we've taken them on as clients and they hand it off and then they keep sticking their fingers in it. And it's like, keep your fingers out of the gears, please. Like, I know you mean well, but if you
Yeah.
keep sticking your fingers in here, you're not saving time. You're adding worry to
Yeah.
yourself and you're adding worry to my team, which I like even
Hmm.
less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. Like all of it makes sense because like, I mean, time, you can't ever create more time. And, I used to say all the time, like, yeah, I tried to create more time. God laughed at me. I tried a second time in the universe to crack the fuck up because it's true. Like you cannot create more time. So as a business owner, like your top responsibility is to do your money making activities, just like you said. You've got to focus on your money making activities, which means you have to be willing to delegate all the rest. If you're not willing to delegate the rest, you are not focusing in on the things that are going to bring revenue into your company. Your whole job in your company is to be the CEO. The CEO's job is to generate revenue. Like that's it.
Yep.
That's your job, right? So I love that like you're looking at the things that people don't want to do, or the things that are just going to drain their time, and taking that off of their plate and saying, hey, we're going to take care of this for you. Just keep your fingers out of the pie so that we can finish baking it,
Yep.
right?
That's right. Quit opening the oven door. You're going to mess it up. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But it's really important though too, because when you're delegating, it can be something that is a mindset challenge. So like you have to be in the right mindset to be prepared to delegate work, because if you're not in the right mindset, delegating is going to become more and more and more difficult. And predominantly because of the fact that when you're in the process of delegating work to somebody else, that means you have to trust somebody with your business, which is your baby, right? You have to trust somebody with that. So that mindset of trusting somebody enough to say, here, I'm going to delegate this to you and I trust you and your team to get this done. What have you noticed as far as like, have you run into any like challenges as far as like, what have you seen in these mindsets with people that are just like not ready to hand it over, or the mindset that they need to be in to be prepared to hand it over, for you to just be like, oh, this was like easy peasy. Like they passed it to us. We took care of it. They're super happy with the results. We're super happy with the results. What mindset were those people in for you to say, yeah, this is what we're looking for, this type of mindset right here?
Yeah. So the mindset we're looking for really goes back to clarity. And I
Hmm.
geek out about this because I didn't realize how important clarity was. I thought it was down to the ability to delegate, the ability to not micromanage. And
Mm.
when I thought about it and kind of went on the journey myself to overcome what was it that was keeping me from making as many sales as I want, and it was lack of clarity. And you can tell, like when you meet people, and you tend to run around with people like this all the time, is the people that are abundantly clear who they are, what they're here on earth to do, who they're here to do it for. They're clear on their offer. It works amazingly well because they're like,
Mm.
okay, I know exactly what my goal is. Anything that's in the way or is slowing me down has got to go bye bye or has got to be handled by somebody else. It's like they can't get it off their plate fast enough. Like, get it out
Agreed.
of here. And they don't even want to have any part of it. Um, the just it's a night and day difference. I'll tell you too, one of the key things I've picked up on, and I've changed my pitch on this, is when I stopped saying the word help in, like, when people say, hey, what do you do? I help people get booked on podcasts, and then I turn those podcasts into those bookings into business. I took the word help out of there
You
because
have to.
now there's a change when I say I get this result. I'm not helping you get this result because that
Hmm.
indicates, okay, I'm going to come alongside and you and I, we're going to do the work. we're going to do it together. They don't want to have anything to do with that part of the work. They don't want to,
Mm.
it's like, just hand it off and let me do my thing. Like, I know it's going to work. I believe you
Mhm.
guys can do it. Rock and roll, right?
Yep.
So it's the clarity. It really
Yes.
is. Like, there's always some, and I know you know this as what you do with as being a coach. There's always an underlying reason why people think the way they do. And then when you find that reason, there's another underlying reason, but it's not like turtles all the way down, right? It's like there's a main reason. There's a main
Yeah.
reason. So
Always.
yeah.
Always. I love that. And words are powerful, right? So the words that we use are incredibly powerful, especially in our marketing, in our messaging, and everything that we say and everything that we do. Our words are incredibly powerful. Like one wrong word, it can throw off your entire marketing campaign, right? One wrong word, it can throw off your entire pitch. Like you were talking about using the word help. People are just like, no, but I would rather not do it, right? Um, you're absolutely right on that. Like I actually have a client that when I first started working with her, she's like, I'm in the wellness and fitness space and everything. And she's like, so I help women lose weight. I was like, no. And she was like, no, what? I'm like, no to all of that. I'm like, because that sounds like what everybody else says. So what I would suggest is that we're going to tweak this and modify this a little bit. But what you're going to talk about is that you assist women in their weight elimination journey. And she's like,
Oh,
oh, okay, that hit different. And then every time that she used it afterwards, people were just like, oh, that caught my attention, right? Um, so it was just the change of, the assisting and then of course weight elimination, not loss, because our brain does this great thing when we use certain words where it looks to sabotage us, right? So when people hear the word help, they think the negative connotation of help, which is something's wrong.
hmm,
Something's wrong, right? Our brain tells us when someone uses the word help, our brain says something's wrong. So when you use help in your pitch, you're telling people something's wrong with what you're doing. Your brain is automatically looking for all the things that are going wrong, right?
I
Instead of
like that.
listening to the rest of the things that you're saying, your brain is telling you, no, there's something wrong, right? So words are super powerful. So I love that, like, you made that little tweak, that little adjustment, and like you saw this massive difference because it's true. Like people, our brain is designed to be an asshole, right? It's designed to be an absolute dick to us, right? It's
I
designed
love
to
it.
just like
Yes.
be like, fuck you. Like, I'm gonna keep you safe. That's my only job. My only job is to keep you safe and alive. That's it. It's the brain's only job, right? Keep you safe and alive. That's it. That means that all of the other shit that comes in is literally the brain's way of saying, like, no, okay, so this is new, this is different. Oh, this means something scary. Stay away from it, right? Just the
Yep.
way that the brain is designed to work.
Yes.
So I love all of this. So okay, so let's talk a little bit about your free gift because I adore your free gift. And I think that like what it is that you're bringing to the table here is phenomenal. And I think that the people that are coming in and listening to this whole time, they're just like, okay, I need to know what is this gift because this gift is going to be amazing. So tell us more about that free gift that you got for everybody.
Awesome. So the free gift is access to my community. So I have a community called PodCom, and there's a free arm of it called the Huddle. So we meet every Monday at 11 Central, and it's really just an eclectic group of people that all have one thing in common. It's podcasting. So whether they're hosts or they're guests or both, there's a fair amount of business owners in the mix. But what we're doing is we're coming together to get unstuck in the area of how do I be successful in podcasting? I know it's got to be more than just how do I get on the top 1% podcast as a guest, or how do I get a bajillion listeners so that I can start getting sponsorships? It's like there's other ways to make money with podcasting as a host or as a guest. I happen to know those things. And so I just plug that knowledge into the group. There's a lot of matchmaking, there's a lot of networking, and there's a fair amount of educational topics. I'm actually, and Suzanne, I didn't tell you about this, but for people that come consistently, I'm starting to open up the schedule for people to come in and speak. So they get like a 15-minute spot. And if we get a ton of people, I'm going to set up breakout rooms. And like each person that wants to speak, like if I got 7 speakers, I'm like, I can't deal. It's like they each get their own breakout room to just like, oh, my precious. And like they can minister to people right there in a closed environment inside of a bigger environment. So it's fun stuff. You should be there. You should be
I
there.
love that. I should
Why
be
you
there. I
ain't
don't know
why
why
you
I'm
ain't
not
coming to
there.
my thing? Why you ain't coming to
I
my thing?
don't know.
I'm
I'm
on your
joining
thing.
though.
Yeah,
I
come do it.
know. I'm totally joining. Like I didn't even know. Like God, it's freaking amazing. Like, it's such an amazing opportunity for anybody that is either that already is a podcast host or someone that's looking to get on our podcast, or even a business owner that's looking to start their podcast. Like this sounds like a great place for people to be. So the magic word that you have to drop in the comments for this amazing offer from Fritz here is huddle. So if you drop the word huddle in the comments below, Fritz and his team are going to reach out to you and they're going to get you access to this community. And also, I mean, it sounds like an awesome opportunity to get on these calls too. So great way to be able to network, connect with the right people, and be in a space where you're going to get a shit ton of experience in podcasting and being a guest, being a great guest, but also getting great guests, because that's not easy. I'm not gonna lie. Getting great guests is not easy. Okay. I can tell you from experience, getting great guests is not easy. I have a laundry list of people that I had to go through to find like the couple of people that I've interviewed. So, there's definitely a method to the madness, and Fritz is the one that's got the answers here. So make sure you drop that word huddle in the comments, and him and his team are going to reach out to you. So Fritz, thank you so much again for being here today. I always love talking to you. You know that. So
It's
it was so
fun.
great. Yeah.
We always geek out when we get together. And thank you for the gift
I
of your time too.
know. Same. Absolutely. I appreciate you. All right, everybody. So we'll see you next time, and bye for now.